How can I see difficulties as a lesson and the test? The nature of difficulty, enemy or teacher? Life is full of obstacles. A failed project, a broken relationship, an unexpected illness, a season of financial strain. At first glance, each of these feels like an enemy, an intrusion, something that steals our peace and derails our progress. But the Stoics invite us to see differently. They whisper, what if the obstacle is not against you but for you? Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself during endless battles and betrayals, recorded, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the radical reframe of Stoicism. Difficulty is not a detour, it is the road. Epictetus, once a slave, told his students, "Difficulties show men what they are. Your hardships are not random punishments. They are mirrors. They show you who you are today and who you could become tomorrow." When life feels unbearable, you can collapse, or you can ask, what is this here to teach me? Think of training in a gym. The weight is heavy, it resists you, but without the weight you cannot grow strong. The very resistance that frustrates you is the thing that builds you. So it is with every difficulty in life. It presses, it resists, it stretches you to the edge of your capacity, but in that stretching you grow. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." The gem resists, the man resists. But only through resistance does brilliance emerge. So when you face difficulty today, pause. Do not say, why me? Say instead, why not me? What is this calling forth in me? What muscles of character are being trained here? Patience, courage, wisdom, humility. This is the shift. From victim of hardship to student of hardship. From enemy of difficulty to ally of difficulty. Because the obstacle is not here to crush you, it is here to shape you. And if you allow it, every difficulty can become both a lesson and a test, revealing your weakness, strengthening your resolve, and preparing you for what comes next. Before we continue, I want to share something important with you. We've seen that a large number of our viewers, perhaps even you, listen regularly, but haven't yet subscribed. If this message has resonated with you so far, if you find even a moment of stillness or clarity in these reflections, we kindly ask you to consider subscribing. This channel is not about noise, it's not about trends, it's about service. And I can promise you this, our small but committed team will continue doing everything we possibly can to bring you value every single week. Thoughtfully researched, carefully written, quietly powerful. All we ask in return is that you join us by subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss your next moment of insight. Let's walk this path together. The classroom of adversity, how hardship becomes instruction. The Stoics saw the world as a kind of school, not the kind filled with books and blackboards, but one filled with trials, setbacks and inconveniences. Every difficulty was a lesson in disguise. Seneca told his student Lucilius, "Fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men." When fire touches metal, it reveals its purity. When hardship touches you, it reveals your character. In this classroom, adversity is not a punishment, it is a teacher. And like all good teachers, it does not flatter, it challenges, confronts and demands growth. Think of hunger. It teaches gratitude for food. Think of betrayal. It teaches discernment, patience, forgiveness. Think of illness. It teaches the fragility of life and the importance of caring for the soul. Each difficulty carries a lesson, if only we are willing to ask, what am I meant to learn here? Epictetus, crippled from birth and enslaved for much of his early life, could have easily cursed his fate. Instead, he treated hardship as curriculum. He told his students, difficulties are the things that show what men are. Therefore, when a difficult crisis meets you, remember that you are like a wrestler whom God has matched with a tough young opponent. For what purpose? To make you an Olympic victor. To Epictetus, every trial was training for the soul. Without an opponent, the wrestler cannot prove his strength. Without hardship, the human being cannot reveal his virtue. But we often resist these lessons. We want life to be smooth, easy, predictable. We want teachers who are gentle, not stern. But life, like a strict instructor, knows what will make us grow, and so it places us in uncomfortable positions, not to destroy us, but to sharpen us. Marcus Aurelius, weary from endless war, reflected, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." Hardship turns our eyes inward, forcing us to discover resources we didn't know we had. Patience, endurance, faith, creativity. And once discovered, these inner strengths become permanent. They are yours to carry into every future trial. So the next time difficulty arrives, pause and ask, if this is a classroom, what is the lesson? Not why is this happening to me, but what is this teaching me? Because every difficulty holds instruction. And the hardest classes often teach the deepest truths. The test of virtue, proving what you claim to believe. It is easy to praise wisdom when life is smooth. It is easy to speak of patience when no one is irritating you. It is easy to preach courage when there is nothing to fear. But philosophy is not for easy days. Philosophy is tested in fire. Epictetus was relentless in reminding his students. So when you are about to undertake some action, remind yourself what sort of action it is. If you are going to bathe, picture to yourself what happens in the bath, some splashing, some jostling, some abuse, some stealing. Thus you will undertake the action more securely if you say to yourself, I want to bathe and I want at the same time to keep my will in harmony with nature. In other words, every environment is a test. The bathhouse, the marketplace, the household, the battlefield. And each test asks the same question. Will you live by what you claim to believe? If you claim to value patience, difficulties will come to test that claim. If you claim to value courage, fear will come to test that claim. If you claim to value justice, injustice will come to test that claim. Not to mock you, but to prove you. Seneca told Aurelius, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Without tests, virtue is only theory. With tests, virtue becomes flesh and blood. Marcus Aurelius, burdened by the weight of empire, looked at each trial and reminded himself, if it is endurable, then endure it, stop complaining. To him, the test was not whether Rome would survive, but whether his own soul would remain unbroken, whether his actions would remain aligned with justice and reason. So difficulties are not just lessons in knowledge, they are examinations of character. They ask, will you abandon your philosophy, or will you live it? It is easy to quote Stoicism when things go well. It is hard to live Stoicism when they do not. But that is where it matters, that is the test. And like any test, it is not designed to humiliate you, but to reveal what you know, what you lack, and what you must strengthen. So the next time you feel cornered by difficulty, remind yourself, this is my exam, this is where I show whether philosophy is just words in my mouth or truth in my heart. And in passing that test, you will know, not in theory but in truth, that your virtue is real. Building strength through repetition. Why every trial prepares you for the next? No soldier is forged in comfort. No athlete is made in ease. Strength comes from repetition, from meeting challenge after challenge until the body, the mind, the spirit grow resilient. The Stoics viewed life the same way. Each difficulty, each frustration, each loss, all of them are repetitions, training you for what is to come. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The more often you practice revoking your judgments, the more quickly peace returns. Think of small annoyances, the traffic jam, the rude comment, the long line. Each one is a minor repetition, an opportunity to strengthen patience, humility, composure. If you train here, then when the larger storms arrive, loss of work, betrayal, illness, your soul is not unprepared. It already knows how to remain steady in lesser waves. Epictetus compared life to the training grounds of athletes. He said, difficulties are things that show a man what he is. Each test is not random, it is preparation. And the more often you face difficulty with virtue, the more natural it becomes to act with virtue again. This is why elimination of complaint is so central to Stoicism. Complaining is like skipping training. You endure the weight but gain nothing from it. But when you face hardship willingly, you build strength. Seneca encouraged his friend to rehearse difficulties deliberately, to practice poverty, fasting, discomfort, so that when real adversity struck, the spirit would not collapse. He wrote, set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, is this the condition that I feared? By practicing in small ways, he learned to meet greater tests without fear. Your own life offers endless repetitions. Each day, small or large, life asks you, will you endure with patience? Will you respond with wisdom? Will you act with justice? Will you choose courage over fear? And each time you say yes, your character becomes stronger, your resilience deeper, your freedom greater. So do not despise repetition. Do not curse the small daily tests. They are your training ground, building the strength you will one day need for the greater trials of life. Because when the storm comes, and it will, you will not be surprised. You will already be strong. The gift of difficulty. Living with gratitude for the test. Most people curse their hardships. They look back on their lives and say, if only this had not happened, if only life had been smoother, easier, kinder. But the Stoics teach us something radical. To treat difficulties not as curses, but as gifts. Marcus Aurelius told himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, not the obstacle ruins the way, not the obstacle delays the way, but the obstacle is the way. Your hardships are not interruptions to your life, they are your life, and if you embrace them, they will give you more than they take. Seneca was bold enough to say that we should even be grateful for trials. Why? Because without them, we would remain soft, untested, unproven. We would never know the depth of our own strength. He wrote, "A man is unfortunate only when he has not been able to endure misfortune. It is not the difficulty that makes you unfortunate, it is how you face it." Epictetus went further. He believed that each trial was hand-picked for your growth. Like a coach pairing a fighter with a worthy opponent, life gives you exactly the challenges you need to train your soul. So instead of saying, why me, the Stoic asks, why not me? Instead of saying, this is unfair, the Stoic says, this is my chance to prove myself. Think of your own life. Which moments shaped you most deeply? Were they the easy ones or the hard ones? Was it success that refined you, or failure? Was it comfort that grew you, or loss and the courage to continue? If you look honestly, you will see that the very hardships you resented are the same ones that made you who you are today. So what if you could shift your mindset now? What if you could stop waiting for hindsight to call difficulties lessons, and instead see them as lessons in real time? Each hardship a teacher, each trial a test, each moment of pain a forge where your character is hammered into strength. The gift of difficulty is this: it strips away illusions, it reveals your weakness, it sharpens your virtue, and it gives you the chance to become the person you were meant to be. So do not despise hardship, do not curse the test. Before we continue, I want to share something important with you. We've seen that a large number of our viewers, perhaps even you, listen regularly, but haven't yet subscribed. If this message has resonated with you so far, if you find even a moment of stillness or clarity in these reflections, we kindly ask you to consider subscribing. This channel is not about noise. It's not about trends. It's about service. And I can promise you this: our small but committed team will continue doing everything we possibly can to bring you value every single week. Thoughtfully researched, carefully written, quietly powerful. All we ask in return is that you join us by subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss your next moment of insight. Let's walk this path together. Thank it, embrace it, rise to it. Because in the end, the obstacle is not the enemy. The obstacle is the way.